Everyone, we're just going to give a couple more minutes for a few other people to join, and then we're going to get started. Thanks. All right, let's get started. Anyone who joins after this can watch the recording that we're going to be posting after the webinar is completed. I wanted to say thank you to everyone who is able to join. Thank you so much. At KARYA here, we want to talk more about KDAPT and how KDAPT can help AX users, and not just AX users, any ERP system that has a structured data set. KDAPT can work with it. So today we will be showcasing KDAPT with AX. We have some really knowledgeable people here today. Nivedita will be presenting a run through of how KDAPT can work for you, and then Janani will be providing a run through of a demo afterwards. Please feel free to ask any questions you might have through the Q&A section, through the chat, or by raising your hand, and we're happy to call on you. After the demo is done, if you would like, please contact us, and we're happy to set up a custom demo just for you. With that, thank you. Nivedita?
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you. I hope my screen is visible. Yeah. So, hi, good morning, and good evening to everyone joining from around the world. So, welcome to our exclusive webinar on Next Gen BI for AX. So, real-time answers and predictive power with KDAPT. And KDAPT stands for KARYA Data Analytics and Prediction Technology. So, I really appreciate everyone taking the time today to be here. And I'm Nivedita from sales team at KARYA Technologies, and I will be one of your hosts for this session who will be doing the presentation. And my colleague Jenny will be showcasing a really interesting demo of KDAPT with Microsoft Dynamics AX. So KDAPT has the power to completely change the way you work with Dynamics AX data. So imagine giving your AX system a voice and the ability to think ahead. So that's exactly what KDAPT brings to the table. So before I move further, I just want to add a quick note. Now, if you're someone who is not currently using Microsoft Dynamics AX and have migrated to Dynamics 365 on-cloud version, such as the finance or supply chain module, you're still in the right place. No need to worry, because KDAPT isn't limited to just AX alone. It's built to work smoothly with other ERP and CRM as well, and even with data stored in Excel. So if you're more curious on how it fits into your particular setup, like Priya mentioned, we would be happy to schedule a personalized one-on-one demo later. I will provide the demo details at the end of my presentation. But for today's session, exclusively we'll stay focused on how KDAPT connects specifically with Microsoft Dynamics AX. So without further ado, I'll move to the next slide. So let's take a moment to reflect on the BI challenges that most businesses face today. So for those who are using traditional BI tools or legacy systems like Microsoft Dynamics AX, even though the data exists, getting timely, meaningful insights is still a major struggle. You have complex tools that often require specialized knowledge, and teams are still heavily dependent on IT just to run basic queries. So the response times are pretty slow, which mean businesses miss out on real-time insights. And most frustrating of all is that data is scattered across multiple systems, so which leads to static dashboards that users rarely engage with. For example, let's say you're in supply chain. You need to check inventory levels across warehouses to make a quick restocking decision. You send a report to your BI team, but it turns out the person who handles the reports is out on vacation and won't return until next week. This is just an example. So, meanwhile, you've got shipments pending and suppliers waiting. So, it's a frustrating situation. And unfortunately, this happens more often than it should. So, these kind of delays don't just slow you down, they impact the entire flow of operations and put your organization at a risk of missed timeline and lost opportunities. So that's exactly where KDAPT changes the game, turning all of those reporting struggles that I mentioned into something fast, simple, and user friendly. So, what is KDAPT? So, KDAPT is our in house developed AI powered business intelligence platform that's designed to solve all of those pain points I just discussed in the previous slide. So, with KDAPT, you don't need coding skill or specialized BI knowledge. You can interact with your data conversationally by just asking questions in plain English. And you get instantly answers in the way of charts, dashboard, and even reports from your AX data. So KDAP puts the power of data right into the hands of business users. So you can make faster decisions without waiting on anyone like IT team or a BI developer in that case. So the five pillars that you're seeing on the screen that makes KDAP truly the next gen is number one, natural language interaction. Like I mentioned earlier, you can just ask a question in plain English and get a clear answer with visual right away. And then the second one is automated insights generation. So KDAP instantly shows you trends and patterns without needing you to do anything manually. And then the third one is effortless data exploration. So you can dig into your data and find useful information very quickly and easily because you're just going to ask questions in plain English. You're not going to dig through the entire of your AX data. And then fourth one, real-time decision-making capabilities. So instead of reacting later, you get insights in real time so you can act faster using KDAPT. And then five, AI-driven visualization. So the complex data in your AX is turned into simple, easy to read visuals such as dashboards and charts using KDAPT. Now, before we jump into the full demo, which my colleague Jenny will be walking you through after my presentation, here's a short clip of how KDAPT works in action. So the user asks a simple question, which item takes the longest time in production? And as you see, right away, KDAPT comes back with the answer that it's 4 days and list the items that match with the question. So you're not digging through reports or waiting on anyone. So it's like having kind of your own AI powered assistant ready to give you answers any moment you need them. So let me quickly explain how KDAPT actually works. So the architecture of KDAPT has four key layers. On the right side of the slide, if you see, number one is the data layer. So this is where the data lives. This is the foundation. It connects KDAPT to your company's private data system. Example, like your ERP, either AX, Dynamics 365, or SAP. And then second one is the semantic layer. So this is the brain that translates your plain English question like what were last month's sales in New York into something that the system actually understands. So you don't need to know the database language. This layer figures it out for you. And then third one, the agentic layer, the AI powerhouse. So this is where AI tools like OpenAI, ChatGPT come in. So once your question is understood, what this layer does is it plans how to find the right answer, pulls the data, analyzes it smartly, and creates a clear response to you. And then for the representation layer, this is where the answer is shown to the user. So this layer is actually what you see. It gives you clear answers either in text, helpful chart, graphs, and interactive dashboard, and everything in real time and live. So this is how KDAPT works. KDAPT connects to various data sources like Dynamics AX system, for example, Microsoft SQL Server, Snowflake, Postgres, or even MySQL, and even any external data like weather or exchange rates. And it processes queries through a conversational interface powered by LLMs, like I mentioned here. So the results are presented as dashboards, charts, or text, like I mentioned. And because of its modular architecture of KDAPT, it supports all key business domains like finance, sales, procurement, inventory management, HR, and other processes as shown in the left side of the slide. So let's see how KDAPT enhances AX across all modules. So Dynamics AX is used across various business functions, right? So from finance and supply chain to inventory and warehouse management. But here's the challenge. The data is often stuck inside these modules and it's hard to access, even harder to analyze in real time. So KDAP solves that by sitting on top of AX data, making it easy for anyone to ask questions and get answers instantly across any module. So, for example, let's say KDAPT is connected to your AX system and you ask a question: what's our current P&L, profit and loss, or which account had the highest variance this month? So KDAPT pulls the data from the general ledger table and it provides you the answers. Or another example, you can easily find the overdue invoices by just asking which customers haven't paid in over 60 days. So you get answers from the accounts receivable module. And you can quickly track depreciation by asking which assets are fully depreciated this year. This pulls data from the fixed asset module. And also you can monitor efficiency by asking which warehouse has the slowest pick rate or how many orders are pending dispatch. And KDAP will pull data from the warehouse management module tables and give you the answers right away in seconds. So what once took hours now just takes seconds using KDAP. So before I move forward, if you guys have any questions or clarification, you can type in the Q&A section. Please do not hesitate to clear any confusions on how KDAP can support you and your company on a daily basis. All right, so you might think, why KDAP for Dynamics AX, right? So we all know AX is powerful, but using its data isn't always quick or easy. That's where KDAP makes a difference. So this is the advantages you get when KDAP is integrated or connected with AX. So number one, conversational BI. Instead of digging through, let's say, smart list or requesting a SSRS report, KDAP lets you ask questions in plain English and you get the answer. And second one, predictive forecasting. So using this can help you spot trends before they happen. And third one, dashboards. So AX reports are pretty static snapshots, and CADAP gives you the live dashboards of, for example, let's say cash flow, P&L statement, sales, inventory, all in one view and always up to date and in real time. And for seamless integration, so let's say you can see how the HR attribution is impacting project delivery or how vendor delays are affecting cash flow. So CARAP connects the dot across all of the AX modules, which is something AX doesn't do out of the box. And five, so most important point, so everything is built on a secure and scalable framework. So, with enterprise grade protection and role based access, you have the ability to restrict access to the data based on the department and job roles. Because sometimes you don't want someone in the warehouse department to see financial data from accounts payable or accounts receivable, right? So, now let's look at how CRAFT actually work with AX behind the scenes. So think of it this way. AX runs your day-to-day operations like finance, procurement, or managing your inventory. And CRAFT steps in as the brain on top to analyze the AX data and delivering answers in just seconds. So how CRAFT does that is, first one is CRAFT connects to all AX modules. For example, finance, supply chain, inventory projects. So you get the complete operational picture in one place. And insights. So instead of waiting for monthly reports or building complex dashboards, you can ask your question in plain English and KDAPT gives you an instant answer. And then next one, AI driven analytics. So KDAPT doesn't just show numbers, it predicts trends, flag risk, and offer recommendations so you can act early. And then questions in plain English. As I mentioned earlier, you don't need to know coding like SQL, DAX, or use clunky BI tools. So you just type things like which product line is growing faster, or for example, say, what's our margin trend in Europe? GitHub understands that questions, pulls the data from the relevant table, and it responds with an answer. So, in short, if I have to conclude, so GitHub brings your entire AX environment to life with answers, trends, and insights at your fingertips in real time. Now, if I have to talk about the outcomes of integrating GitHub with Dynamics AX, first one is efficiency. So GitHub reduces the time your team spends pulling data, building reports, or waiting on the IT. So instead of spending hours manually um, stitching together numbers from AX, users can simply type their questions and get real-time visual answers in seconds. So this means the less time spent on reports and more time spent on decision. And the next one is accuracy. So as you know, manual processes often comes with human error. So whether it's misky data or outdated exports or version mismatches. So KDAP connects directly to the live AX data. So meaning your insights are always accurate, consistent, and up to date. So this minimizes the human error and increases confidence in the numbers that you're making decisions on. And next is cost saving. So by streamlining reporting and eliminating redundant BI tools and reducing dependency on BI teams or developer, GitHub drives significant cost saving. So it also help you identify areas of waste, inefficiency, or overspending in your operation, which leads to better resource planning and smarter budgeting and scalability. So as your business grows, more data, for example, more data or more users, and the more complex it becomes, GitHub can grow with it as well simultaneously. So it's built to scale across business units and geographies. So without requiring any massive rework or reconfiguration, GitHub can seamlessly grow with your business environment. So whether you're in one location or 50, GitHub ensures everyone has access to the fast and reliable insights. So what I mentioned about aren't just BI features that you get out of GitHub. They're like real bottom line benefits that directly improve how your business runs. Okay, so let me give you some real life examples because Carapt is built for everyday questions that leaders across your organization ask. So the first one, imagine you're a finance head. You want to know what's our Q2 spend versus budget and broken down by department, for example. So with traditional BI tools, you would wait for a report from IT or dig through spreadsheets. But with GetUp, you just ask the question in plain English, and within seconds, you see a clear interactive chart showing the spend, variance, and trends, all live from the AX data, which is connected with GetUp. And then next, now, let's say, for example, you are a supply chain lead, and your top concern is knowing which items are likely to stock out next month. So instead of relying on outdated stock reports, GetUp analyzes AX inventory and historical sales pattern and also the current orders. And it uses predictive analytics to flag which SKUs are at risk and when. So you can take preventive action, you can notify the suppliers or adjust the reorder levels. So all from a single dashboard. And the next example is let's take you're in the procurement team. You need visibility on which vendors are delaying deliveries and how is that affecting our projects. So CARA pulls this data straight from AX's purchase order and vendor performance history, showing on-time versus late deliveries, vendor scorecards, and impact by item per the department. So you don't need to chase like Excel sheets or cross-check email chains in the Outlook. It's all in one place, live and accurate using KDAPT. So I have arrived the end of my presentation of KDAPT with Dynamics AX. I will now hand it over to my colleague Jenny, who will showcase you a short demo of how KDAPT actually works. So after the demo, you will open up the Q&A session. So if you have any questions, feel free to jump in because we have the KDAPT creators with us today. So it's a great chance to get answers directly from the team behind it. And again, I want to thank everyone for joining today's webinar. So if you think KDAPT gave you a clearer picture of how to get more out of your Dynamics AX data, we're happy to explore that further. You can visit our website at kdapt.com or reach out directly at info@kdapt.com to schedule a one-on-one demo and connect with our team directly. And we look forward to continuing the conversation. Thank you. Jenny, you can proceed with the demo.
Quickly before we proceed with the demo, Arvind and Praveen, we have gotten a question about is this compatible with Dynamics 365 FO, and how does it have access to live data in the system?
Yes, Priya. So like yes, it can be checked. Like for effective thing, we have our dedicated modeling team. So they will be assisting to gather the required informations, like integrating Kadapt with the um, Dynamics 365 or FO. So based on that, we could get the required details integrated, and we could fetch the information that is needed. That is one possible approach. And the other one is like we could extract the data, like having a parallel synchronization so that we don't disturb the current live system so that it doesn't affect the production system performance. So we could create like a backup system that is just syncing with the production live system like every couple of hours, something like that, as per the requirement, case to case basis. And we could create modeling according to the requirement, like which are all the tables that are to be associated, and we could question and get the required answers for that.
Ravi, I hope that answered your question.
Hi all, so let's quickly jump into the demo. You have a user credential specific for each user with permission settings in it. We are logged in now, so let me give you a brief explanation of how the basic features of KDAPT look like. This is how the homepage looks like. It is very clean and user-friendly interface. Here comes the dashboard, wherein you can pin all the critical answers visual representation in the form of a bar graph, a pie chart, or a multi-line chart. If you have a query that involves data that could be visualized, click on the chart icon, which will generate an insightful interactive chart so that you can pin it to the dashboard and view it whenever you want it without running the query again. If the data is suited for visualization, then KDAPT will let you know. There will not be any unnecessary clutter. Next is the thread. This is where your conversation begins with KDAPT. Whatever questions you ask will be saved to the thread section and you can access it without rerunning any query. On clicking the What could I ask option, KDAPT gives you a set of predetermined questions that you can get answered analyzing your data. Moving on to the knowledge section. This is your in-app guide filled with instructions and helpful prompts to get your answers quickly. In the question SQL pairs section, you can find default pairs already saved. You can edit the existing SQL statements and the question pair in the edit option, or you can add more questions SQL pairs using the add option. You can also customize the way in which you wanted your answers to be displayed in the instructions page. You can either choose the option global for the instructions to be executed in all the queries related to a particular table, or match to specific questions for that question alone. Now let's dive into the heart of KDAPT, the live demo. I'll walk you through a series of real-world questions to show how simple, powerful, and insightful your data conversation can be inside KDAPT. Let's begin with a foundational question. Display the details of vendor group for the USMF entity. Look how KDAPT instantly connects to the AX database, identified the related model. In this case, it's going to be AX DB Vend group table. It organizes its thoughts according to the question. So here it is going to be the following steps: determining the required columns, followed by filtering the columns which is required to display your answer. And finally, the system generates a SQL statement and fetches the full data set. In case you need technical transparency, click onto the View SQL, where the SQL query used to retrieve the data is available, giving analysts and IT teams full visibility and control of how KDAPT gets you the answers. What you see here is a clean, organized view of all the vendor groups defined within the USMF entity, with all the essential attributes laid out, ready for analysis or action. You can save this result to the knowledge for future use by clicking on Save to Knowledge option. You can have a few recommended questions that are auto-generated by the system that helps you to get complete knowledge on what your data says. Let's build a conversation with KDAPT to see if we get answers. List only 5 vendors and their payment terms in the USMF entity. Did you see how KDAPT interprets the limit of 5 records and understands the need to extract both the vendor names and their payment details? This is a great example of how conversational querying can handle data with filters, limits, and specific fields, all working out without writing even a single line of code. Now, let's get specific. Suppose you want to find out the vendor CN01 belongs to which vendor group. Instead of navigating through the menace of AX database, you can simply ask and KDAPT delivers. Within seconds, you know the vendor group classification, which can be critical for all the approvals, terms, and compliances. Now let's keep building on that. What if we want to see every purchase order linked to the vendor CN001 in the USMF entity? So let's just ask KDAPT. List all the purchase orders created for the vendor CN001 in the USMF company. Look, KDAPT retrieves a clean list of all the purchase orders along with the relevant data like order numbers, dates, and statuses, offering immediate visibility into the procurement activity. Now, shall add some more filter layers to KDAPT. Let's ask for the purchase orders details for 2012 with sum of line quantity for CN001 vendor. KDAPT recognizes the filter for the year, the vendor ID, and the need to aggregate line quantities. You can see how KDAPT can process multi-layered condition querying effortlessly and still return clear results. So far, we had visualized the conversational capabilities of KDAPT. Now let's move on to different modules that are available in AX. How about payments? You can ask KDAPT this way. Please provide details of any pending payments for purchase orders created in the USMF entity. And here we go. KDAPT identifies purchase orders with pending balances, pulls the payment details, and highlights the exceptions. It also displays the vendor code for the user's convenience. This saves the finance team hours of digging through reports and transactional logs. Now let's shift the gears towards sales. How did the sales of top 10 items in the year 2011 perform compared with the year 2012? KDAPT fetches the ranked items list and presents year-over-year comparisons, showing whether it is in growth, decline, or a consistent line. You can view the SQL statement that is involved in retrieving the answer. You can even generate a chart from this to visualize the performance over time. Now, we have already pinned a bar graph in the dashboard. We can customize the view of the available charts and position them according to the usability. You can also edit the bar graph into a pie chart or a multi-line chart using the edit option. On clicking the save option, you can save the chart to the dashboard and use it for future use. You can use the regenerate option to regenerate the chart in the future in case if you're going to add some more data to the existing table. And finally, we can conclude the demo with a summary view. Give the item that was sold in the most for the year 2011 and 12. I need the item ID, the name, the quantity sold, and the year. Here we go. KDAPT processes the time frame, applies the ranking logic, and retrieves the entire data exactly what we asked for. The top selling item for each year with all the requested attributes are listed below. Here is the most powerful feature of KDAPT. You can save the entire interaction to the knowledge section, making it easy to revisit or share with your entire team later. You can view the SQL statement involved. You can generate a chart from this to visualize the performance over time. When you look at the group bar graph, there is sales only for a particular item in the year 2011 and not in 2012. This is how KDAPT gives you answers analyzing your data. You can edit the bar graph into a pie chart or a multi-line chart using the edit option. So, hope the demo went on well. I would like to conclude it by saying, with KDAPT, business intelligence becomes effortless. No code, no delays, just real-time answers when and wherever needed. Explore more at kdapt.com or get in touch with KARYA team to turn your ERP data into a strategic advantage.
All right. Thank you so much, Janani. We now wanted to open up the floor to any additional questions the audience might have. We have one from our Q&A section. How long does it take to implement KDAPT in an existing AX environment? Praveen, could you answer that? Praveen or Arvind?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, like the existing AX environment, we will have a separate requirement discussion, like where the access systems for the client is hosted, like whether it's a cloud or something, and then it can be done swiftly, like within like 1 to 2 weeks, depending upon the volume of the instance that is needed for the AX database. It can be done. Rough estimation is like 1 to 2 weeks.
This is based on the amount of data, the amount of tables, and
Yes.
The environment. All right, excellent. Do I need to install anything to use KDAPT, or is it all web-based?
It's a web-based, but as I said, like it's not like a SaaS, it's not like a software as a service. So it's like a custom software that will be securely deployed on their respective data center or on their cloud network, so that it is not like on a public network, and it is secured. So it takes like they have to provision like a virtual machine or a server based thing, and we can deploy it, as I said, within 1 or 2 weeks of time setting up that. And after that, like we have a modeling activity, like segregating the tables that are required to fetch the required information. Those things would be taking place.
All right, perfect.
Answer to the question is, it's a web-based application, but not like a SaaS-based. So it will be deployed on their respective data center, on their cloud infrastructure in a secure manner, so that it is not in a public access to third-party people.
Perfect. Thank you. We have another question. It looks like, are there any built-in reports?
There are no built-in reports as such. we do get data from the AX system or the system which is being provided to for KDAPT. So whatever reports are required, it is not actually a reporting system, but whatever data output you get from the questions you're asking, you can download to into a CSV format. To answer your question, there's no default reporting as such.
Okay. Since it is connected to LLMs, how is this data security managed?
It's not just particular to one particular LLM. It can be to various LLMs. It is feasible. And we have the connections to the LLMs in a private security manner. And as I said, KDAPT resides on your data center or on your network or on your cloud setup. So the data are not going to any other data centers. Connecting to LLM is just like an algorithm. It uses to fetch the required information that is needed. So all the data will be residing on respective customers' data center or on the cloud setup.
Thank you. The next question we have is, will it work with data lake of unstructured data?
Actually, KDAPT forces to use structured data because we need to give information based on specific modules or specific from specific set of tables. So we do recommend only for structured data. Even if there's an unstructured layer, if we can bring it to some sort of table-like structure, yes, then we can can give you the answer. Yes.
All
So
right.
to answer your question, we need structured data.
All right. Another question's come in. It looks similar to Copilot in D365, but exists outside. Is this a correct understanding?
In a way, yes. In many ways, no. Yes, in sense that it gives answers to your questions in layman terms. The reason why I said no is for Copilot, you need specific set of user license, which will be per head, and it will work if you are within the particular ERP system, whether it is BC or any other FNO. So only then you can use your Copilot. But in KDAPT, it can be used as a standalone. It's a web-based, so it need not connect to any. It need not reside in any ERP in particular.
All right. Are there any other questions? Excellent. Okay. Thank you so much for all these really insightful questions. Now, this was a much more generic showcasing of KDAPT and how KDAPT can work with AX. If you would like something that is much more specific to you, we are more than happy to do a much more custom demo. Please reach out to us at info@kdapt.com or through any of the other emails you might have with KARYA Technologies. And we are happy to talk to you and set up this call. Thank you so much for giving us your time this afternoon, and have a wonderful day. Thank you, everyone.